All the members, please confirm in the chat if they can hear me. All the members, please confirm in the chat if they can hear me. We will try to be very clear. If anybody has a problem in the voice, they can let us know. Walaikum assalam, Mr. Hashim. Hassan Amjad, please confirm if you can see the screen clearly. Let's wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start. You're supposed to have like 15 members as of today. Once we will have 15 members here, we can proceed and start. Walaikum assalam, Mr. Naveed. Thank you, Mr. Usman. Walaikum assalam, Fahad. Okay, let's wait for 1 more minute and then we can start. We were supposed to have 15 members, 12 or 13 has actually joined us. Those who are confirmed, we will start after that. Yes, Father. This video recording will be available on the same link which you have actually joined on YouTube. The content of this presentation will also be shared through the Google Drive. You can download whenever you want. This is actually the second stage of our webinar. Once we had done that in the first quarter in the March, and this is the second stage. We will be having the same presentation in third and fourth quarter. Okay, gentlemen, let's proceed with today's webinar. Why we have organized this exercise with all of you is because we have been receiving so many queries on and off about this process safety management. Uh, the basic query was like that from the word process safety management, which means that this technical term is mostly relevant to the process guys, which are mostly the chemical engineers. But somehow, when in context to the whole chemical industry, or I should say the petrochemical industry, we all know that the industry is composed of all the kinds of the discipline where we actually work. This process safety environment is not specifically focused on the process guys and the process expert guys working in the plant operations or the process side. That is why I chose this webinar to have a communication with all of you dedicated for this all discipline terminology. Why we use this in the couple of slides, we will be able to see how this process safety management is actually linked with all the kinds of the discipline. These disciplines are merely the available faculties, available departments in our universities, and the subjects we used to read. When we will have this interaction on and off, and we will see in the upcoming slides, I have drafted the content from the different disciplines, how this process safety management is actually linked with all kinds of the discipline, not only the process guys or the operational guys. This is linked with all kinds of the disciplines. Before moving to this webinar, I need to declare that all of the members should also have this understanding that this is not a kind of a lecture or a tutorship that I am going to perform here. This is not only a training that usually you see on different forums and different institute level where a certification used to happen. This is not only a theoretical pattern that we are going to discuss. I am going to let you know how the process safety management will help all of us to grow in our career, and how all the discipline can part their role in different areas of the process safety management. So be clear that this is not a kind of a theoretical thing. This is a very practical approach which we will be going to be discussing in next couple of slides. All of you are requested to keep their speakers, although this YouTube link, if we have been doing this on Microsoft Teams or Zoom, the speaker should be off. Hold your question and type in the question section, not in the chat. If all of you have this YouTube link, chats link, then you can ask the question in the chat. Try to not to ask the question on the WhatsApp chat where we have been communicating regarding the schedule of this webinar. Try to be very practical, one person, one question. If you have more than one question, wait for your turn. Once you see that there are no more questions coming, then you can put your question in the chat section of YouTube link. You are all requested to type your engineering discipline. Either you are a chemical engineer, you are electrical engineer, or you are a software engineer, or you are a diploma holder. You can write your area of professionalism where you are actually working in specific industry, or you are a student in specific department. You can write, and then if you are a working personnel, you can write your current job and role, so that once then we will be finishing this webinar, automatic certification email will be sent all of you through that specific email. So please write your name in a correct format in the comment section. This will be a record. Those who have actually joined this live session, they will of course get the certificate after this webinar. Participants can write email address with engineering discipline also whenever they have this kind of professional emails as well. PPT and recording will be uploaded on our YouTube channel as I explained earlier upon the query. Gentlemen, this is my profile. You should have an idea to whom you are actually speaking to. My name is Wasim Zia. I am actually running my own personal business as a director, Charm International. I am graduated from UT Lahore as a chemical engineer back in 2011. My session was 2007. Then I moved to Europe, Italy. I did my master's in health, safety, environment, and quality management systems from University of Pisa, Italy. Till today, I have almost 10 years and 8 months of industrial experience in the process plant commissioning and operations and also the process engineering aspects. So this is me, and you must have an idea now. Once we will be moving to the process safety management thing, you guys must have the information that how we are going to discuss with me, which have been working 10 years or 11 years in the process industry. What we are going to discuss in this webinar is we will be explaining some facts that why this process safety management for all the disciplines have been organized in this way, that what are the reasons behind these kind of the activities. Then we will be discussing some major accidents in the petrochemical industry, how the process safety management actually got birth in our society, in the whole world. On the third section, we will be discussing what is process safety and what is process safety management. And then we will be discussing the foundations of this process safety management, the four foundations which we will be discussing, and we will be practicing these foundations according to their elements one by one. After these four foundations, we will be discussing how new engineers can earn through process safety management, how the new engineer from the university or when they have passed out, how they can play their role in the process safety management and how they can participate in the different assignments with the experienced individuals. Going to the ninth section of this webinar, gentlemen, we all know that we have experienced individuals who have registered on this webinar. They are working in good industry and they do have a valid experience working over there. They do have a single resource of income over there, but this process safety management will also help them to have a second source of income as well, and also this will help them to implement this process safety management in that industry where they are already working. How this process safety management will be implemented, in this section we will be discussing the content of all those elements which can be implemented in that industry. In the 10th section, we will be discussing about ourselves, that how we are working actually and what we have done as of today. And then in the end, we will be having questions from you, and the forum will be open for everybody to ask the questions. Moving to this presentation, I would like to explain how this 3-point road entrepreneurship actually works. We are going to present this kind of the idea to our engineers. For the first target of our webinar will be the fresh engineers who are actually studying in the industry or they have just graduated from the industry. The second section would be the option 2, who are actually working in the industry. They are the experienced engineers, but they are not having the jobs at this moment, or they want to switch from that industry, but they want to have their own career in the business industry, or they want to be the freelancers of that individual in their individual role in the area of process safety management. In the third section, we will be discussing with the experienced individual who are working in the industry, that I explained earlier, that if they want to implement the process safety management system in the industry, or if they want to have the second stream of income from their own existing job, also with this process safety management freelancing activities. So an experienced individual working in the industry can also work as a freelancer in the process safety management system applications to have a second stream of income in their own. Okay, so some facts that I mentioned earlier, that why we need to have this process safety management system, environment, process safety management ecosystem around our community, industrial community, how this will be going to work. So the point number one that I'm going to mention is there. The 50,000 engineers are unemployed at this moment in the industry. These are the stats that I have taken from the government institutes websites. At this moment, if every year 50,000 engineers are getting unemployed, so they need to have special skills in their career. Of course, having degree in their catalog shall not serve the purpose because they are unemployed. So they are the engineers, but when they are unemployed, they need to develop some more skills, and we are here to help to develop those skills. Second point is freelancing means the software engineering. Of course, the software engineering has those skills that because the initiation of the technology in the computer engineering sector, in the software engineering sector, shall be addressed by the software engineers at the first stage. But all the industrial disciplines are nothing without the softwares and the computer engineering thing. So, process safety management is also a tool where we can perform as a freelancer. I will be explaining the contents of those pillars of the process safety management, which shall explain that how an individual from the mechanical engineering side, from the chemical engineering or electrical engineering can perform as a freelancer in the process safety management area. The third point which need to be focused is that engineers doing the e-commerce subject. This is the I used to say that these are the odd jobs. Once you guys are focused on the knowledge economy of your country, if you want to participate in that kind of knowledge economy, then this specialized job should be addressed at your professional doorstep. Once you have qualified as a chemical engineer or electrical engineer or mechanical engineer, and you are going to work in the e-commerce industry as a virtual assistant, or if you are going to work in the non-engineering disciplines, you have been qualified in a specialized skill, which is your engineering degree. And when you leave that area of work thinking that uh, this cannot make money, then this is the lack of knowledge that you have actually. When you moved your industrial discipline to some non professional jobs, and you find your way and easy money sources in the e-commerce sites. This is the boom of the country where everybody is moving toward this e-commerce business, where only the 5% is the success ratio. So this should be the idea that all the professionals working in the industry and graduating from that specific institute, either they are the diploma holders, either they are the engineers, but they are the technical professionals of your country. And the knowledge economy grows in this way, that once those professionals have the confidence on their knowledge, and then they can make that knowledge to earn for themselves as the freelancers, then this knowledge economy will grow, and of course the business will come in our country, and the individuals will also grow. Coming to the step four, the business means investment. This is somehow uh, a conventional idea of business. Once when people make this thought that to run a business we need an investment, a huge investment is needed to run a business. So this myth should be broken in this area, that all the engineers of different disciplines, all the diploma holders of different disciplines, or the science guys of different disciplines can earn and can start their business without any investment, without zero investment, or just few thousand to register their company. We will help all the individuals to start their own companies in Pakistan and start with different already working companies in collaboration with the existing setups and start their own business without any major investment. Like, just giving you an example, in like 3,000 rupees you can just start your own company. And this is not a big deal when you have an idea of any engineering application, any engineering activity that you want to do. This is not the case that you need to have a lot of investment to start your own business. So bringing this process safety management in front of you is that I am sitting in front of you that I have started my own company back in 2015, and without any investment, it just took me few thousand rupees to register my own company, and I have started this with different industrial working, and till today I have been working in the same capacity. Without any investment, you can also start your own company wherever you are living. So please keep this in mind that financial freedom is your actual objective. You can do your work wherever you are living. Financial freedom means that you are not bound to stay in that specific location. You don't have to come to Lahore, you don't have to go to Karachi, you don't have to be in Islamabad to work for the process safety management. Wherever you are actually sitting, that you can work, you can start your own business right in your area while sitting at your door. So no need to have this myth in your mind that this business investment is required for to start your engineering business. Going to the fifth fact, why we need to have this process safety management ecosystem around this industrial community. Engineers wants to become middlemen in businesses. This happens that when engineers move from this manufacturing side or from the supply side, they want to be the middleman of all the kinds of the business. This of course requires specialized expertise to be the middleman, of course, but this doesn't actually develop the community where the manufacturing thing and the knowledge, actual creation of the knowledge, is the gap that I wanted to mention here. If you think that someone else is working the process safety management system, someone else is designing the whole technical documentation, someone else is designing the whole system of the process safety management, and that specific organization is living outside the Pakistan, and you guys are actually working over here. You are here just to review those documents and then implement those systems. So you are actually working as the middleman. This is what I am trying to mention, is that all the all the professional studies all the professional studies which can be learned from your own books, which you have just left from your engineering disciplines, all these studies are being imported from Europe, from America. And these small kind of the studies, like even the HAZOP studies, the safety integrity level studies, the professionals living over here are not capable enough to provide all these kind of services to the industry. Some few local industries are actually doing that, but the level of that technical studies is not up to the mark. Studies are not even fulfilling the standard requirement of the literature that we have been providing in the engineering books. So do not be the middleman. Do not import the knowledge. This is what I'm trying to explain, that do not import the knowledge. Just like that, when you are going to import the products in your industry, you are importing oil, you are importing gas, LNG, you are importing. So at least Pakistani engineers should be capable enough to produce their own knowledge. At least they should not import the knowledge from outside the industry. So going to the sixth step is no realization of skills. How this happens with our engineers is that they do not actually realize how skilled they are. They need to think that once they will be qualified diploma holders and qualified engineers, they are already skilled. And if they want to go to the business ideas, if they want to implement their own business, they will be doing the entrepreneurship. But once they want to market their own skills and they want to make money from their skills, this will be the idea of entrepreneurship. So once they have qualified from their institutes, either they are diploma holders, either they are the engineers, they are the qualified personnel. So they have that information. Once they have learned from the books, they have qualified from the institute, means they do have a sufficient knowledge. They do have the knowledge of API manuals. They do have the knowledge of their engineering books. They do have the knowledge of process engineering. They do have the knowledge of mechanical estimate standards. They do have the knowledge of all the electrical appliances designs, the applications, the technical requirement of all the devices being installed in the hazardous areas. So this knowledge should be used to market their own skills at a different level. So process safety management helps in this area. The engineer and the diploma holders have that technical knowledge which can be used as entrepreneurship. How this will be done, I will be explaining in the next coming slides, that how these skills can be used in the entrepreneurship. Moving to the birth of process safety management. How this process safety management actually took birth. In the petrochemical industries, we have faced major disasters in recent past. I should supposedly say that uh, the first incident that opens the eye of the industrial community is the Bhopal disaster, happened in 1984. Soon after this Bhopal disaster, like 2 years, we had that Chernobyl incident, the nuclear industry in 1986 Ukraine, when Soviet Union was there. And after 2 years, we had that iconic uh, disaster of the North Sea oil piper Alpha. And then in 2005, we have BP Texas refinery incident. Why these incidents are so much discussed in the industry? Because these industries didn't hide their incident. These industries were actually opened themselves, and also the industrial pressure was so much high that all these incidents were discussed in so much details that this gave actually birth to a process safety management system. The root cause analysis of all the incidents led all the industrial community to have a unanimous centralized management system to control the disasters. Let's discuss these incidents in a very short time, so that we should come back to our process safety management system with this brain, with this information in our head, that how this process safety management is important for all of us. What happened in Bhopal incident? It happened on 3rd December 1984. Place of occurrence was in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India, and one movie was actually filmed on this title called the Prayer for Rain. Everybody should watch that movie to know the actual content of that incident. Company was Union Carbide Corporation, and the chemical which actually caused that incident was methyl isocyanate. 27 tons of methyl isocyanate was actually released. Look at the catastrophe, the effect of that incident. Among the 500,000 people exposed to the gas, 20,000 have died till date. As of today, the effect is still there, and 120,000 continue to suffer devastating health effect as a result of their exposure. Still, the effect is ongoing, and well, if you want to visualize that the catastrophe that was filmed in the Prayer for Rain, you will have an idea how methyl isocyanate has actually impact on the eyes of the kids, on the health of the kids, and the casualties was actually happened. What actually happened? Let us have an idea how the process safety management will link with these kinds of incident. Seepage of water 500 liter into the methyl isocyanate storage tank, causing gas release. All the other disciplines who are actually joining this webinar should not need to worry about the technical terms. This is just information. Once we will be familiarized with this kind of the thing, we will having that better understanding. So water was actually leaked into the methyl isocyanate storage tank, causing gas release with the reaction. Gauges measuring unreliable. The gauges, or either the level gauges were there or the pressure gauges were unreliable. They were not calibrated. The refrigeration unit used to kept offline for cost cut, because it has that safety of the tanks The lining of the refrigerant was actually put off because of the cost cutting. The gas scrubber designed to neutralize any seepage methyl isocyanate had been shut off for maintenance. This was the corrective technique to protect from the escape. Those gas scrubbers were actually shut down because of the maintenance. The flare tower designed to burn off MIC escaping from the scrubber was also turned off, waiting for replacement of a corroded piece of pipe, which means the actual integrity of the piping system was not reliable and they do not have any alternate option available to burn that specific chemical, because this flammable chemical, if they have that burning system available, then that pure chemical should not be wasted in the environment. The tower, however, was inadequately designed for its task, as it was capable of handling only a quarter of the volume of the gas release. Means the technical issue was there in the designing phase. The designing phase was actually the root cause of this whole tragic incident. The lack of effective warning system. Of course, the different layers of the protection, we do have this warning system available in which if the mixing of the chemical and the pressure increasing and the higher level is going to be higher side, then the warning alarm should come in the control rooms. MIC story tank number 610, this 610 is the actual tag of that story tank, was filled beyond recommended capacity. This is how people used to save the cost to install the additional story tanks. They need to think that this overcapacity is not an hazard, so they actually overfilled those tanks. A story tank which was supposed to be held in reserve for excess MIC already contained the methyl isocyanate. This is the standby storage tank which was actually available due to the production demand. They have actually used the available reserve capacity of that storage tank. This is the scene. The whole area of that industry, around the industry and inside the industry was actually burned down, and toxic gases, and the whole area was buried. Moving to the Texas BP refinery incident, BP America refinery explosion on March 23, 2005, 15 killed and 180 got injured. Why this happened? Lacked an effective mechanical integrity program to maintain instruments and process equipment. Lack of an effective mechanical integrity. So please be informed that this process safety management is not focused only for the process guys. See, once we see that lack of an effective mechanical integrity program, so these are the mechanical engineers who need to make sure that the integrity of the mechanical integrity of the equipment is always intact, and to maintain the instrument and the process equipment. Of course, the instruments means that electronics guys, the mechatronics guys, the engineers and the diploma holders have this responsibility to maintain these. For example, malfunctioning instruments and equipment were not repaired prior to the startup. The shutdown happened and they need to restart the system, but they didn't actually replace the already reported malfunctioned devices. Ineffectively implemented their project safety startup review policy. This terminology we will be discussing in the next couple of slides. What is the project safety startup review and how an individual from all of you can participate to make these policies. This is the beautiful Texas refinery picture, and see what happened after that incident. This is the moment of when the fire actually happened in the industry and the whole area was actually burned down to ashes. Because of that incident, British Petroleum had faced a lot of financial crisis and they had to sell their assets from Pakistan as well. Moving to the Piper Alpha incident, gentlemen, a major Northern Sea oil and gas drilling and production platform. The incident actually happened uh, in 1988. This platform was built in 1976, and at around 10 p.m. in July 1998, the whole platform was actually collapsed. How did happen? Of course, the process safety management tool was actually developed later on, but now we are familiarized with how the incident was actually happened. With the disaster, 165 of 226 men on board, because this is an offshore platform, so it is a kind of a ship for the uh, people away from the oil and gas knowledge. They should have an idea that uh, the platform working in the sea are called the offshore facilities, and people have to be on board, and they used to stay there for a couple of weeks. After that, once they will have done their rotation job, they will have to come back to the land. That is why it is being termed as 26 men on board, and 165 were died, plus two crew members from a fast rescue craft which was trying to rescue the people. Two rescuers were actually died in that incident. So these lines were is very important to have an idea how that disaster happened. Only 61 survived, all of who decided to go for it and save themselves. How these 61 survived, you need to read that. 27 climbed down ropes to a lower deck and then to the sea. They jumped into the sea. One by a stair to a low deck and then the sea. Seven by rope and then dropped into the sea. Five jumped from 65 feet, one jumped from the direct level, 15 jumped from the pipe deck at 133 feet, and five jumped from the heli deck at 175 feet. These are the different areas of that platform. The technical terms are being used at the derrick level, the pipe deck, and the heli deck. The last line is very clear. None who jumped knew what they were jumping into. Because of the smoke and because of the clouds, they had no idea what is under them. So they actually just jumped, saving their life. And luckily, I should say that they went into the sea, and after that, they were actually rescued. Cause of failure was permanent work system was not used properly. Those who are away from the industry, we will be having further explanation how this permanent work system is actually working. Those are the students. We will have a separate talk with this permanent work system, of course. No recognition of the changed risk when gas production was started. Control room was unprotected and in an exposed location. This is a kind of a design failure, that the firewalls were not installed in the control room. When the control room is not available, so the whole control system is unavailable. No sensible segregation of hazardous area from non-hazardous. Chemical engineers and the mechanical and electrical engineers and the diploma holders have this idea that how the segregation of the hazardous system is actually separated. Risers not protected, inappropriately sited shutdown valves. Risers mean the pipelines coming from the other sides to that Piper Alpha platform were not actually protected, and the access the shutdown valves were not actually installed, and the location of that shutdown valves were not actually as per the uh, risk associated with the fire. So the fire study was actually carried out, the scenarios were not actually studied, and the shutdown valves were not actually installed as per that design. Then the inadequate refuge area. If any disaster happen, people living in that platform should have a refuge area. Safe haven should be there, which is protected by the fire, the firewalls, and also a different escape system should be there. The last point is similar to that. Inadequate escape system was there. This is the beautiful Viber Alpha platform which was built, and this is the moment when the whole platform was on fire and collapsed down into the sea. And it should be mentioned here that if you see the documentary of this incident, they used the submarines to get into the water, and they retrieved those permanent work system, and they retrieved the documents related to the workflow of isolation certificates right into the sea. So they retrieved those documents for the investigation. That is why we are available here to know what has actually happened. After this incident that we have discussed, so I need to mention here that why don't we manage risk? Once we are getting linked with, we are interacting with the associated risk, why we cannot or why we don't actually manage the risk? Uh, what I have actually assessed, this is my assessment, which can be wrong in your opinion. A pessimist seeks fear in the high risk activities. Why they actually do not manage the risk? People are in a way that some people actually interact with the risk without any control, and some people avoid the activities. Once these two both approach are not the pure process safety managers approach. Being the pessimist, once they actually avoid the activity, they do not perform the activities, or if they perform the activities, they do not manage the risk. These two approaches are the pessimist approach. How the optimist works at? Optimist seeks opportunity in every risk. When they are going to manage the risk by applying definite controls, actually that risk has a potential of opportunity. So that risk actually is beneficial for all of you. That is why International Organization for Standardization or the Occupational Health and Safety Standards or British standards now added another clause in their standards. If you go for the ISO 14001, that is the environmental standard. If you go for the ISO 18,001 X 18,001, which was the OSHA 18,001, now it is actually 45,001 ISO. For the occupational health and safety, you will be able to see they have actually added another clause, which is the opportunities in the risk. Because optimism says that when you are going to manage the risk, it helps you to find few more opportunities to save the environment, to earn the revenue, to save the humans, to save the working personnel. How? This is an example for all of you. This is my own experience that oil spilled over the containment may cause environmental hazard and risk to the environment, but recovering the oil in closed system can save the environment and generate revenue as well. If the system is available there and you are going to have that system, you see that that system is generating the effluent. Any system of the industry, if that system is generating hydrocarbon oil into the environment because of that specific design, any design which we'll be discussing in the later stage. If an optimist person came, they actually mentioned that this oil can be recovered and this oil can be recycled into the pipeline system, into the closed system. In this way, they will save the environment from the spilling. But when they are going to manage that risk to save the environment, in this whole management, the opportunity was there that they can recover the hydrocarbon from that produced water or from that specific oil, and they can generate the revenue. So this is how management of the risk helps you to find more opportunities in that risk. So all the risk metrics, this risk metric terminology is a special term of the process safety management. We will be discussing in details in next stages of our program. This risk matrix has a definite column in that study that whenever you are going to manage the risk, you have to mention that when you apply the controls against specific risk, you have to mention the opportunity arising from that management. So this is not the bad approach when you're going to manage the risk. You have to be skilled enough to manage the risk so that the opportunity can be availed in a proper professional manner. How we have been discussing that the birth of process safety, the first incident which actually happened after Bhopal disaster in 1984, there was a defining moment in the chemical industry which actually gave birth to the process safety management as of today. Formation of the Center for Chemical Process Safety was actually formed in 1985, which is now a part of American Institute of Chemical Engineers. So the whole process safety is actually being managed by the Center for Chemical Process Safety, which was actually formed in 1985, and now it is the part of Institute of Chemical Engineers. And the membership of that Center for Chemical Process Safety is not more than like 1,000 rupee a month, or less than that. Like it was yearly, if I calculated based on the dollar, it was not more than 10 to 12,000 a year. So when you have the membership, you will be available to have all the process safety management studies from that AICHE forum. Going to a little bit of familiarization, what is the process safety and how the process safety management system actually works. So you all should have an idea that what is the process safety. Process safety is about the prevention of preparedness for and mitigation of or response to or restoration from catastrophic release of chemicals or energy from a process associated with the facility. This is the process safety, And what is the management system? A management system is formally established and documented set of the activities and procedures designed to produce specific result in a consistent manner on a sustainable basis. And what is the process safety management? Thinking about the above two definitions, we came to know that process safety management is how we manage prevention of preparedness for mitigation of response to or restoration from catastrophic release of chemicals or energy from a process associated with the facility. So this is what I was actually mentioning, that process safety and process safety management system is that in the process safety, we actually prevent and get ready or to control and respond in any catastrophic activities. And addition to this management system, all these activities to be done in a proper manner, which is called the process safety management system. As I mentioned in the first slide, I declared that this is not a theoretical class. So the previous slide was actually the theoretical concept of the process safety management. So I brought this single line definition for all of you, that for the non-conventional engineers working in the away from the process petrochemical industry or the students, loss of primary containment is the basic concept behind this process safety and process safety management. How this loss of primary containment actually works? Any fluid who is actually designed to stay in that system is actually called its primary containment. The primary containment of any fluid is the containment which is the designed area. Means if the gas has to flow in the pipeline, so pipeline is actually its primary containment. Containment means it has to be stored in that specific area. If a storage tank is designed to hold the liquid, then that storage tank is actually their primary containment. So that primary containment is the prime responsibility of the process safety management to keep that primary containment in a healthy fashion. In all the areas, primary containment should be kept in a way that this loss of primary containment should not happen. When this loss of primary containment happens, means the process safety management system has been collapsed at some point. All the kinds of the fluids in the industry, solid, liquid, gas, if those fluids are actually confined in the primary containment, then that primary containment should be kept healthy. And if that loss happens from the primary containment to the secondary containment, then means that barrier is process safety management. I think I have cleared the idea of process safety management system, and this process safety management system is actually the protection of that primary containment. We, as a process safety expert, our main focus always remains the primary containment. We have to keep that primary containment in a healthy fashion. So how this process safety management system, according to this Center of Chemical Process Safety, this structure was built in the 1986 once the process safety management system was actually implemented, and this pattern was developed for all of us to know that the process safety management system was designed based on these foundations. We have OSHA process safety management system as well in us, and we have a Center for Chemical Process Safety, which is the American Institute of Chemical Engineers in a broader aspect. They do have different process safety management systems, but what I brought for you is that in the OSHA process safety management system, that is PSM 3132, that process safety management system has different areas which does not actually address few points. The comparison is available there. If you need, I can send you that comparison of the OSHA PSM and the risk-based process safety management system by Center of Chemical Process Safety team. So all these areas should be addressed. So the best approach is designed by the Center for Chemical Process Safety people. That is why I brought this for you. Otherwise, we do have also the OSHA process safety management system, which is mostly 90% is the similar to that Center for Chemical Process Safety PSM foundation structure, but it has a 10% gap in that. So once we have a very intrusive and 100% productive structure available, we need to be following that Center for Chemical Process Safety Management System. So how this foundation actually works? If we know that these are the foundation and these are the pillars, and this is the whole roof of that foundation. If the foundation is intact, we all need that the foundational blocks are for commitment to the process safety, understand the hazard and the risk, management of the risk, and learn from the experience. These are the four foundation, and then these foundations have their own dedicated elements. So these elements have a separate area with respect to their foundation, and these pillars are strengthening that roof of the structure. If any of that element collapse, this fire safety management system can collapse. We will be discussing all these elements one by one in next couple of slides, and then we will have a chat how as engineer or diploma holders we can perform our role to strengthen these elements in our industry and to sustain our business and to start our own career and to develop our own skills in that specific area. As mentioned earlier, that the process safety management system has four foundations, which is the process safety, commitment to the process safety, then the management of the risk, and then the understand hazard and the risks and learn from the experience. This is the actual process safety management system. Moving to the step-by-step explanation and the elements of this process safety management system foundation. The first foundation, which is the commitment to the process safety. There are 5 elements to the pillar of commitment to the process safety. So process safety culture is the first point. Culture means uniform and sustainable habits of all the working personnel in the specific environment. This is what we call the process safety culture. Culture means that one individual person is working for one day in a proper professional safe manner. If he is working for the whole month and then he is working through the whole year in the same manner, then we will be telling that that person has a habit of behaving a safety professional and he respects our process safety management system. And when we talk about that, the whole group of people working in that industry is behaving in the same fashion and all the equipment are being maintained in the same process safety management fashion, then we will be able to say that throughout the year all the equipment, all the people were actually maintained and being performed in the true spirit of process safety management. Then we will say that the whole process safety culture is bright culture. So one individual and then the whole group of people, one equipment and the whole group of equipment, this is actually the culture of that specific industry. Compliance with the standards. Different companies used to adopt different standards, but the process safety standards are designed separately for each industry and they have been adopted at different levels. So compliance of that standard is actually the commitment to the process safety. Then the process safety competency. The process safety competency is a separate kind of the competency. Once you become the professional as a diploma holder or the engineers and you move to the industry, you gain your experience according to your job description. You have been assigned as a process engineer, you have been assigned as a mechanical engineer, you have been assigned as a production technician, or you have been assigned as the associate engineers. You used to perform according to your job. You have to operate the plant, you have to maintain the plant, you have to perform the electrical maintenance, instrument maintenance, or you have to operate specific machineries. These are your job descriptions. But a competency relevant to the process safety is a different thing. Why it is a different thing? Because the process safety is a totally different knowledge. You can operate the plant in many different ways. The process safety defined ways have that specific guidelines that okay, you are going to operate that plant or you are going to operate a specific machinery, let's assume a pump. But that process safety competence will ensure that there is no process safety gap in that operation. There is no shortcut, there is no risk involved in that specific operation. So that competency is a separate kind of a thing. None of the professionals should understand that if they are performing their job in an effective way, they can be the good process safety expert. Process safety competency is a separate expertise and it should be learned and it should be developed in any specific industry to avoid major incidents. Workforce involvement. This is also the commitment to the process safety. If you will not involve your workforce, the the three layers of the management, the lower management staff, the middle management staff, and the higher management staff, all the three layers should be involved in the technical activities. The technical activities means that uh, all these process safety competencies should be developed in all three levels, and once all the different studies are being performed, all these three levels should be involved. That is why the communication should be ensured and the workforce should have the best knowledge of this process safety. Stakeholder outreach. Stakeholders means all the people who can be affected or have potential to be affected from your operations. Those are called stakeholders. That can be your community, that can be the media, that can be the government, that can be the national institutes, and your own company employees. These are the stakeholders. Stakeholder outreach means to ensure the process safety, you have to stay in touch with all the stakeholders to have a better idea of their expectations. Once you have the better idea of their expectations, you can address them in a proper way. So it is better to all the employers to have the better idea that how we need to have this stakeholder outreach program available. Moving to the second pillar, which is the understanding the hazards and the risks. There are only two elements to that pillar, understanding the hazard and risk, because these 2 points are very important. So management of the risk cannot be done if we do not have the understanding of the hazards and the associated risk. What is hazard and what is risk? We have different definitions available according to different standards. Once we will be moving to the identification of the hazard and the risk assessments of different hazards, we will have a separate discussion on this in our next programs. How these elements are being implemented in the process management system? The first element is process knowledge management. Nobody can manage the process safety in the industry if they do not have the knowledge of specific area. If a mechanical engineer or a diploma holder from the mechanical background is working in the maintenance areas, if he do not have the basic idea of the whole process of that industry, he cannot be the good manager of the process safety. He cannot actually ensure the compliance of the process safety management. And this whole process safety management is the management system. So management system cannot be followed or implemented if any kind of the discipline does not have the knowledge of specific process area. So process knowledge, any process happening in that industry should be well versed by all the type of disciplines. And the hazard identification and risk analysis. If the industry is being designed in the inception phase, the project is being actually developed and the concept phase is ongoing. This is the responsibility of the project managers that they need to involve the process safety experts so that a proper hazard identification should be performed and their risk should be analyzed. Once this hazard identification is performed and risk analysis is performed, then those controls will be cascaded down to the designers, and those controls shall be addressed in the designing phase. And then with the implementation, with the execution, few more hazards can arise, and this two-way communication with the end users and the executioners shall remain continued, and the revisions of the document shall happen. During the operation of that specific area, if the plant is running, you need to review your hazard identification. If after a couple of years the dynamics of the industry may change, the stakeholders may change, so the new hazards can arise and the risk analysis can be changed. Sorry. The third pillar is management of the risk. How we have to manage the risk. In the second pillar, we discussed that we have identified the hazard and we have performed the risk. Now, hazard have been identified and risk have been actually assessed. Now we have to manage that risk. Management of the risk can be done in 9 different ways. The first way is making the operating procedures. All the activities should be covered in an approved procedure, that the responsible of the specific industry should have an idea that which activity is being performed in what manner. In black and white, everything should be done with the standard operating procedures. No activity should be done without any SOP. Second element is safe work practices. Different forums are designed, different documentation is available. The industry should have appointed their individuals to stay in touch with the national international forums to have better idea of safe work practices. All the industry used to share their lesson learned in different forums, the HSE forums, the operational forum, the process forums, the pipeline forum, the mechanical seminars and webinars. Every industry should appoint their individuals to have interactive sessions with those other industry individuals to learn the safe work practices, and they need to share their experience as well, so that the whole ecosystem of process safety management system can be developed at a global level. As an integrity and reliability, every equipment which is being managed in the industry should have a better integrity plan, and the equipment which is designed to perform specific job should be available at their design intent, which is called reliability. So all the equipment integrity and reliability should be maintained, and the maintenance guys, the electrical instrument and the mechanical guys are there to perform these integrity plans. Then the contractor management. This is what I was actually emphasizing, that this was a wrong myth that industry should only take care of their employees and the activities being performed by their employees. After 1986, when the Bhopal disaster happens, industry professionals realized that we have to get into the contractor stage and we have to perform the evaluation of the contractors based on their technical, based on their safety, based on their environmental compliance, and based on their health compliance. So we have to make performance criteria of those contractors as well, and we have to review those contractor performance at a different levels. This is important that when the contractor is performing their activities at your premises in your industry, that contractor activity can actually harm your own technical areas, your own people and your industry. So at the contract management phase, you can evaluate your contractor based on different criteria set by your process safety experts. So when you are having the technical services and technical products or the technical equipments, you need to evaluate according to process safety management guidelines. Next step is training and performance. Training and performance of your employees and your contractor is very important. You need to have a technical process safety training metrics plan available. You need to have an idea that your team is expert in the process safety management, and this training is being done according to their job. Once the person has been trained, then you have to monitor the performance. Either that specific personnel is going to perform in the same manner, or you need to have another session with that specific person. So this is how it works, that the training and performance should be implemented to ensure that the risk is being managed or not. Next is management of change. This is an important aspect. During the plant operational phase, number of stages arise that we need to modify specific sections. We need to modify some pipelines, we need to modify some operational activities, we need to modify some workflows, we need to modify some organizational network, we need to modify our organizational charts. So these modifications are actually the change that we are going to perform. So if we are not going to manage that change, then that change can harm us. So this is very important, that when you are going to perform any change in your industry, it is related to equipment, it is related to your process workflows, it is related to your human resource. Any kind of the change should be managed in a proper way, that a dedicated team should assess that change, if that change is going to harm the existing setup or not. The process safety management system actually advises us to manage any change happening in that operational activity. Operational readiness. This is another important element to manage the risk. If you are going to operate the plant at the first time, or you are going to have a shutdown activity followed by the startup of any small equipment or the whole premises, operational readiness and assurance plan should be developed. This operational readiness is not merely the technical operational readiness. Means you have to start the a vessel, you need to take a vessel in service, you need to purge it, you need to uh, clean it, you need to water flush it, or you need to operate a moving machinery. No, operational readiness means tangible and intangible resources should be available. Even your technical team is trained enough or not to operate that plant. So this operational readiness should be developed right before the project is being completed. So during that execution phase, this operational readiness plan should be ready, and any discrepancy in the plan should be highlighted before the startup. So all the resources should be made available, even the IT system, even the information system, even the perks and benefit system, even the food and deliverables of that specific manpower, even the logistics system. These are all comes under the operation readiness, and this should be the, the tool to manage that risk. According to the process safety, when the process safety management risk has been analyzed, and to manage that risk, you need to have that operational readiness assurance plans in hand. Conduct of operations. Now, operation readiness assurance plans has been implemented, and the operation has been started. Once the operation has been started, now the conduct of operation should be up to the mark. Conduct of operation have specific guidelines that the process safety management system conduct should be in line with the guidelines available in the process safety management. Going to the emergency management system. God forbid if hazards have been identified and the management of risk has been compromised and the incident has actually happened. If the incident has been happened, the corrective plans are intact. Corrective means when the incident has been happened, we need to react to reduce its catastrophic effect, to reduce its impact. This is what we call the emergency management. In the emergency management, either the fire management system plan is available in the hazardous area, either the first aid system, medical health system is available in that specific industry, or the mobilization of that specific equipment or specific human, or the protection of the environment is available or not. So this is how the management of risk happens in 9 different elements. Going to the fourth pillar, learn from the experience. Once the first, second, third pillar is done, even if the incident happens, an emergency has been managed, the incident has been addressed, no catastrophe or any catastrophe has happened or not, we should not sit behind. We should learn from our experience. This is also the part of process safety management system. How we will learn from our experiences? This can be done by the four elements. Incident investigation. A dedicated team should be developed. Either it can be internal or it can be external. That dedicated investigation team should perform the investigation of specific incident to know the root cause. Incident investigation means the actual root cause of that incident. That root cause should not be limited to the technical root cause. This can be the administrative root cause, this can be the engineering, or this can be the systematic. So any kind of the root cause should be investigated in a proper manner so that the incident should not happen again. Next is the measurement and matrices. How the measurement and metrics can help us to learn from our experience. The data should be generated and consolidated throughout the life of that plant, starting from one industry. Once the first day of the industry till 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, the measurement of the data, measurement of the incident, measurement of the observation should be statistically organized, and the metrics should be developed to have a better statistical idea that how this company is moving forward. The incidents are increasing or decreasing, the observations are being addressed properly or not. This is how we know that we can learn from our experience. Next is auditing. Audit, everybody knows that all the implementation, all the planning in the first 3-4 pillars can only be audited if the first four pillars and the elements have been addressed in a proper way. And if those elements have been performed in a proper way or not, this can be evaluated by internal and external auditors. The process safety management experts have that specific experience to see biannually or annually to come to your sites and to have an idea that either your system is in line with the process safety management guidelines or not. After the auditing, then it comes the management review and continuous improvement. These audits shall consolidate their observation, and their observations will be compiled and presented to the management. And this management shall review the existing company measurement and metrics that I have actually mentioned, that after the incident report has been finalized and the corrective action has been proposed, measurements have been developed, metrics have been developed, audit has been performed, and all these documentation has been presented to the management. The company management, the higher authorities, will review all these studies quarterly or biannually. It is their responsibility that they need to review these statistics and to see their company is moving forward or not. And this review is the part of the management commitment that we have discussed in the first section. Process safety management commitment actually requires all the managers to review, and the higher authority should be able to have a management review of all those statistics. Once they will review, then they will propose the plans for the continuous improvement. They should not consider that we are done and our job is completed. No more incidents means it will not happen again. No more incidents doesn't mean that this specific job is being performed and this will be performed without any incident in the whole life. If you are going to perform one job 100 times in a month, this doesn't mean that 100 times you have performed the job without an incident, which means at the next month when you will be performing at the 101st time, it will not cause any incident. It has additional risk involved in it, which is the risk normalization or the habits or the overconfidence. These should be addressed at different levels. We will discuss how we are going to have in-depth knowledge how to address these kind of issues in our next stage programs. So moving to the next stage of that part of our presentation, what I actually mentioned is that in the contents of this section, we know that engineers working in the industry or diploma holders working in the industry, passing out students from the industry, technical schools, like we know that in the different institutes, in the different industries, they do have their own technical institute, which is called the training centers. So all those areas, all those institutes have fresh graduates or fresh diploma holders which are trained. This slide is for them. If anyone have any confusion regarding the previous slides, they can ask the question at this stage so that we move forward. Yes, Mubarak Hussain, if the comment section is not open for you, you need to log in with your Gmail account and then you can comment in the comment section. If you have any problem, you can write in the WhatsApp section as well. Okay, how new engineers can earn. This is the core focus of our presentation of this webinar. The first element will help the freshers, the diploma holders and the engineers. Either they are associate engineers or they are BTech engineers or they are BSc engineers. Any kind of engineer can perform in these areas to start their earning without any investment. Process safety culture, learn responsibilities for process safety roles. All the students should develop the questionnaires, awareness sessions, videos, process safety fundamentals, and process safety best practices. Then those students, those new engineers, they have this skill because they have been performing the different assignments in their study stages. They can perform different Microsoft Office activities, like they can make the PowerPoint slides, they can make the videos, they can present their point of view, and they can actually technically explain the engineering terms. So what they can do is that they need to develop the whole program for the process safety management, safety culture improvement. They need to develop the questionnaires. They can find hundreds of the questions relevant to the different industry, different equipment, different personnel from the internet, or I can help you make that. Then they can develop the awareness sessions. They can download the videos from the YouTube relevant to the process safety, or they can have so many other forums available to make those videos. I will help you to let you know how you can easily make a 2-minute video in just right on your mobile or on your laptop. Then you need to have an idea that process safety fundamentals should be communicated to the industry. In this area, you need to stay communicated, you need to stay linked with already working industries, or working companies with the major industries, you need to pitch your idea that this is what I have in my catalog. I can help the industry to develop their process safety culture. So you need to pitch your idea that in this way I can help you, and you can demand your quotation. A fresh engineer can do that. No need to worry about this. In this way, that specific fresh engineer, he is a diploma holder, he is a BTech or he is a BS engineer. These kind of the people can also develop their skills relevant to the process safety culture, and also they can help the experienced individuals to develop the process safety culture. They can stay connected with the experienced individuals to learn about relevant to the technical terminologies. Moving to the compliance with standards, how the new engineers can earn from this stage. Learn and apply standards and regulations that apply to process and equipment. Learn and apply standards and regulations. Suppose I give you the standard of Center of Chemical Process Safety for the process safety management. You guys will have that standard. You guys will have that management system standard. If you are the engineer, you will be able to understand the whole content of that standard. Then you are going to move in any industry for a site visit. You will go there, you will perform a site visit in a day or two in a week. Then you will be able to see how the process safety management system mentioned in that standard is implemented or not. So you will have to perform the gap analysis. Suppose you are going to visit any industry LPG system. LPG storage and distribution system is there. You go there, you see the vessels are installed there, the pipelines have been installed, the evaporator is there, and that LPG is being injected to a burner. This is a small example for the fresh engineers. All the engineers have that understanding that what kind of gasket should be used, what kind of flange is installed, either that specific storage tank is equipped with the safety system or not, fire extinguisher is there or not. The process safety management system has specific guidelines available that how these systems should be operated. So a student can perform the gap analysis. In one column, a student will mention the requirements of the standard, and in front of that column, a student will mention if that requirement of the standard is being fulfilled or not, and what is the gap, if it is being fulfilled 100% or 50% or 20%, and what is the gap. A third column, student will mention that this is the gap and the industry should implement this. It is up to the industry, and the assignment will be closed. These gap analysis can be easily performed by the fresh engineers. They can be connected with the already working companies, or they can start their own business in this way. They can go to the industry, they can make a PowerPoint slide, and they can just pitch their professionals. They can email the professionals, they can make a few page pamphlet, and they can just present their idea, and then they will start communicating. Once you will knock the door of one industry, the second industry, third industry, hundred of industries available around your area. Anybody in the industry will knock back, and you will be moving forward in this way. Keep on knocking the door, you will be heard. Moving to the process safety competency. Take advantage of training opportunities. All the professionals passing out from the industry have firm knowledge of API manuals, unit operations, and unit processes. Either they are the chemical engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, or they are the diploma holders, or they are the associate engineers. So this is the basic knowledge. Most of the industries available there, they do not have the technical training institutes. Only a few industries have this culture. the fertilizer industries and few petrochemical industries have this kind of the culture that they need to induct their engineers, diploma holders, and they have a special training institute for 1 year, 2 years. Then all the new inductees should learn from that institute, and then they get into the practical areas. But I have understood that the engineers should have better knowledge of API manuals in their engineering studies and unit operation, unit processes. All the engineers, either they are the electrical, they are mechanical, they are instrument, or they are the chemical engineers. If they have this API manual experience and unit operation and process knowledge, now what they have to do? They have to move around their community, see the industry. They need to pitch their skills that they are the expert in these kind of the manuals. Write the list of all the manuals and pitch your idea that I can teach your operators, I can teach your engineers, I can teach your professionals, I can teach your supervisors about the industry. So in this way, you can have better idea that how you can actually go and explain that this idea is being implemented or not. Once you will have a list of your skills, you will be able to present that these skills can make money for you. This is what I was actually emphasizing. The entrepreneurship is the idea that should be addressed. So once you will list down your own skills relevant to your knowledge, relevant to your process knowledge, relevant to your operations knowledge, relevant to your equipment knowledge, this idea will help you to sell your own skills. Then you will be able to train the technical staff of that industry. So you will help the industry to improve their process safety competency. Moving to the workforce involvement. Listen to the input from operators and technicians. During your site visits, or you will develop your portfolio, you will develop your proposals, business proposals or ideas in a fashion that you are going to the industry and you are going to pitch your idea that you will help the industry to find their stakeholders. You will help the industry to see the stakeholder engagement plan is there or not. So this is how it works. Now, once you will have a better idea of the stakeholders, you will know the needs of the stakeholders. Once the needs have been identified, then you will be able to monetize that. So this is better to have an idea that this skill entrepreneurship should be monetized at different levels. You need to develop the relationship with the industry. Once you are involved in the industry, you need to know the needs of that industry. The operators, the technicians, the supervisors, the managers, they will identify their needs. Then you can channelize those needs and monetize that. If you can do that as a fresh engineer, then fine. If you need to have the experienced individual, then develop your community. If this community will be implemented, then you will be able to monetize your skills and your experienced friends and colleagues. Next is stakeholders outreach. In the previous section, I have explained that when you have that interaction with the industry, then you will be able to review that industry websites and their personal relations and different forums and groups. In this way, you need to have an idea that what kind of the industry is available in the community and what are their needs and what are the stakeholders, so you can help them reach their expectations. Different expo has happened in the recent past. In that recent past, most of the major industries were there. If any of you have interaction with that, you will have a better idea that how the stakeholder outreach program and workforce involvement can lead you to make your business grow, or you can start your work as a freelancer. This is a saying that your net worth is actually your net work. So the larger is your network, the larger is your net worth. So focus on building your relationships and with the workforce of that industry, and maintain the stakeholder outreach program. The next foundation, how in the process knowledge management fresh engineers can actually help. Develop process safety information. Process safety information is a specialized activity. You need to guide, you need to train, you need to go in the industry and let them know that how they have to develop the process safety information. You need to develop the checklist, you need to develop the forms, you need to let the team of that industry know that how they have to identify the process safety information and how they have to communicate that process safety information. So process safety information has number of things. Even a small uh, information of an alarm, the how to address that alarm, how to communicate that alarm, and how to report that alarm. This should be done in a proper fashion, and a proper system should be available in that industry. So you guys can do that. When process safety management system is available, you have read that in the books that how the equipment is being operated. Any APA manual can actually explain how to draw the process safety information from specific uh, area. This can be done by all the disciplines. Review or develop material safety data sheets. This is specific related to the manufacturing industry. When the manufacturers are there, they are manufacturing these different kind of the products. These products cannot be sold into the market if they have the proper material safety data sheets. Most of the industries in Pakistan, fortunately, are selling their product without this material safety data sheet, or uh, those material safety data sheets are not up to the mark. The 16 elements of the material safety data sheet are not properly filled. They can be legally undertaken by any of the incident if something has happened. So you guys have to find that. You guys are the expert. So you have to go and you have to find the gaps. Then when you will find the gap, and you offer your services to address those gaps. Develop reactivity matrix. This can be done by the chemical engineers. If the petrochemical industry, most of the chemicals are available, you have to, this the fresh engineers can help in making these things, that what kind of the chemicals are available, and all these chemicals can react with each other if storage techniques are not good, if handling is not good, if the environmental escape happens, how these mixing of the chemicals can lead to the disasters of the process safety. So the chemical fresh engineers have this best knowledge, they can do that. They don't need to have 15 years of the experience to perform these kind of the studies. Develop and update design basis calculations. All the fresh engineers from any institute, from the associate engineers or the BSc engineers, that basis of the calculation means the material balance and the energy balance, and few composition analysis, few software techniques are available. These are so easy that all the chemical engineers can perform, because this is what they have learned from their engineering studies. A diploma holder have that in their subject. A BTech engineer have that in their subjects. A PSc engineer have that stoichiometry in their subjects. So most of the industry have a paperwork system available there. They have not gone through this change, they don't have actually realized that how this uh, software Excel based techniques can help them optimize their work plan and to save their man hours. So you need to have that better idea and go and pitch that idea and monetize it. Develop and update piping and instrumentation diagram. Being a student, when I was in the second year, I used to make all the process and instrumentation diagrams on my own on CAMCAD software or Visio software. So what I am telling you is that the whole Sundar industrial area in Lahore or in Karachi, Bin Qasim Port, go there, see the industry. Most of the industry does not have the complete PNIDs of their units. Unfortunately, the old design, because of the transition of this industrial revolution in Pakistan, most of the equipment were actually submitted by the external parties in the hard format. So they do not maintain, and modifications are being done without any MOC or proper plans. You guys can help them build their design documents. Everybody needs those design documents to train their team members to have a better idea of their process, but they need some resource. The already existing employees cannot do that due to their limitations, and the owners cannot let them do that due to certain reason. So if you go there, you just have to pitch your idea that you can make these diagrams by your own, and you can pitch your idea with a different quotation. Similarly, the process and instrumentation diagram, there are mechanical diagrams, there are civil diagrams, civil layouts, which can be done and presented to different industries. So specifically for PNIDs, only the chemical engineer can do that. But going to the mechanical diagrams, civil layouts, and instrumentation layouts, this can be done by all kinds of the engineers. Gap analysis for electrical classification and single line diagrams, as I mentioned in the previous section, uh, electrical classification of the equipment can be done by the instrumentation engineers as well. And the single line diagram for the electrical classification can be done by the electrical engineers as well. Similarly, develop automation logic diagram and cause and effect charts. This can be done by the instrumentation and electrical engineers as well with the help of chemical engineers if the process system is involved. Maintain equipment files, design and fabrication information. How a mechanical engineer help in making these files? Equipment files. How the equipment is being designed, the design documents are available, and the fabrication of the information is available with that. So maintaining the equipment files can be done by the mechanical engineers. Students from the different engineering community, from the uh, associate engineer section or the BTech section or the professional engineers from that industry, they can help the industry to maintain the equipment files. So in the next element, hazard identification and risk assessment. Participate in hazard identification and risk analysis. All the kind of engineers can participate in hazard identification risk analysis. They cannot perform because this is an experience activity, but they can participate. How they can participate? When this activity is being performed, the team which is designed to perform these kind of the activities should have a scribe and an assistant in that team. So when you have the great network with the experienced individuals, it has no problem for anyone, for any experienced individual performing the hazard identification and risk analysis study to ask the client and to let you sit in that study. You can sit there, and if you want to be the scribe, then you will be on a higher level. As an observer, you can sit there and you can perform as a scribe. Scribe has a dedicated job who used to type all that documentation the HAZOP studies, the hazard identification studies, the risk analysis studies, these studies can be performed, and on-site typing of that observation used to happen in the meeting. So a scribe should be a professional engineer who has the better knowledge of those terminologies. When everybody guide him or her, they can type. So they can participate in this. How you can participate? You need to develop your relations with your experienced team members and the industry. And also you can present yourself as a scribe. Okay, you can be able to perform hazard and risk analysis studies as a scribe. So you can participate in any kind of studies as a scribe. If anybody is looking for any scribe, professional scribe for these studies, they can connect with you. Next is assemble required process safety informations. Once hazard identification risk and assessment has been performed, and in that stage, most of the hazards are being addressed and hazards are arising, hazards are being converted into the incidents. So these statistics should be developed, and you can assemble required process safety information so that a survey can be performed. This can be done by the chemical engineers if they are relevant to the process areas like the plant operations. If these are relevant to the maintenance areas, then the maintenance engineers can also assemble required information. Review applicable, recognized, and generally accepted good engineering practices. This is what I was telling, that the best practices, how you will be able to know that best practices can happen. Best practices can be adopted and to be communicated. These review applicable, recognized, and generally accepted good engineering practices are available on different forums, and a dedicated team of fresh engineers can do that. For all the areas, for all the engineers, they can have their own catalog of the best practices. They can connect with the different industries, they can connect with the different forums, so that they should have a better idea. So once they have the best practices in their hand, now they have to move to the industry which do not have these practices. They have to stay in touch, and when they have the whole network, the public relation is there, the personal relations are there, they have this information that XYZ industry does not have this practice, you need to help them develop and monetize that. Compile industry incidents that I mentioned when we were discussing assemble required PSI. Any engineer can compile all the industry incidents. Go there, see if that statistics are already available or not. If not, pitch your idea and help all the industry to develop their statistics regarding their industry incidents. Once you will compile, you will have to develop the Excel charts, Excel pyramids, Excel trends to communicate to that industry that this is the behavior of your industry and this should be controlled. Then you can recommend according to your process safety management experts that this is the statistical data. Now this is up to you how you will use that statistical data to improve your culture or not. Then the civil structural engineer's role in review of seismic threats and structural response to impulse loading from overpressure events. This is how the civil engineer can perform. Engineers have that knowledge in their studies that they can perform these very basic level seismic threats to the available overpressure system. Going to the operating procedure, new engineers can write new procedures and update the existing procedures and help the industry to develop their management system. The SOPs can be designed by the fresh engineer. Go in the industry, see if the procedures are available or not. If the procedures are not available, help them build that. You just go there, talk with the operators, how they used to perform, just type it in the Microsoft Word and present it. So this is how things work. Quote your idea and make all the procedure of that industry. Meanwhile, safe work practices. Develop and prepare permit to work system where it is not available. Learn from the internet how the permit to work system works. So many slides available, so many videos are available. Develop your few pages permit to work plan Pitch the idea in the industry where this permit work system is not available. Go around the Sheikhupura, go around the Gujranwala, go in the Sundar, go in the Qaidam industrial area in Lahore, go in the Vinkasim port. There are so many areas available around the country where in small level industries does not have the permit to work system available in their premises. You need to help them develop, quote your idea, and make yourself more money from that. Asset integrity and reliability. Identify equipment covered by inspection, testing, and preventive maintenance programs. Chemical and mechanical engineering help the industry to first identify the equipment covered by the inspection, testing, and preventive maintenance plan or not. Go there, make your relations, have a site visit, and pitch your idea that we are here to see if the industry has their self-sustained program available or not. If not, help them and earn yourself. Then write ITPM procedures, the inspection, testing, preventive, and maintenance procedures, just like in the above plant operational procedures. Similarly, the maintenance procedures can be developed by the mechanical guys. Analyze inspection results. Of course, the mechanical teams can do that because the industry, which do not have the mechanical experts, they used to get the inspection from the outside the industry, but they cannot read that. Usually, the outside industry help them to read that. But if you are available there, you can recommend according to your basic knowledge how this inspection result can be controlled or improved if there is any observation in that. Approve and monitor repairs. Of course, as an engineer, theoretical knowledge can be gained. If you see any corrosion impact, if you see any calibration effect, if you see any uh, deterioration, if you see any stress losses, you have that knowledge that you can review your engineering books and you can recommend that this is the theoretical knowledge. Why this cannot be done by the industry guys? Because the industry guys are away from the books, they are away from the literature, and you guys are very close to the literature. You guys have just left your literature books, so you can build that gap. You have the better knowledge of the books, they are away from the books, so you can recommend from the literature. Remember that why you can do that while the other professionals are doing in the industry. The already built industries who used to recommend the ideas, they used to charge a lot because of their professional competence, because of their uh, standing in the industry, because of their royalties and stuff like that. They have the professional engineers on pay, on salary, monthly salaries. But you guys will be working on task base. The industry is moving in a different direction, gentlemen or gentle ladies in the group. Uh, you need to have this idea that industry has moved to a task-based activities. Now the service industries are not hiring the engineers. They need to perform the task without hiring the engineers. They need to hire a person from the outside market who are working as the freelancers for 1 week, perform the job, and 100,000 from that specific task and leave. In this way, they don't need to hire the person on salary because service industries cannot contain that individual if they do not have the business. So small level industries used to get connected with the engineers who can perform these tasks. So never think about that. What I'm talking here cannot be practically possible. We will be able to train you guys how to start your business. So in the next stage, when we will complete this webinar program, we will be able to connect with all the individuals. All the fresh engineers connected with me, they have already informed me from through the Google form that they can be the ambassador of their institutes and their cities. So almost 70 persons have been actually connected with me in this stage from the different areas of Pakistan. We will be able to make them establish their own freelance network. We will train them how to do all these activities on their own. Testing of SCAI and safety instrumented systems. So safety critical and asset integrity uh, system testing and safety instrumented systems. So how this instrumentation and control engineers can perform these testing of safety critical and asset integrity and safety instrumented system elements. Review structural integrities. The civil structural engineers can see the equipments are installed on a high integrity structures or not, and those structures are being protected or not, fireproofing is there or not, weather resistance structure is not. Contractor management, what I have mentioned is that approve contractor with respect to safety. You guys can help to develop the performance criteria, evaluation criteria for the industry to choose the best contractor. You guys have that basic knowledge how a contractor can perform according to the process safety management guidelines. In the standard, you will have that knowledge. I can help you prepare that checklist as well. Train contractors. This can be done by the fresh engineers. How you can do that? Just make the group of your friends passing out from the institute of all the disciplines. Make a team, develop a business proposal, pitch into the industry that we are the group of different team members and we can train your supervisors, we can train your technicians, we can train your associate engineers. You will spend your hours in the process safety, knowledge management. Though the industry people are working relevant to their job description, but not from the process safety management. So what you will do, you guys will learn and develop your skills relevant to the process safety management, and then you can train those contractors as well, because training the contractor is a big challenge. The contractor team does not hire the staff, they call them on project basis, so they do not bother to train them. They usually get themselves trained by the client if the client has any program like that. If the client does not have any program to train the contractors, then the contractor staff is not trained. In this way, they cannot have this whole training plan available. Here you will come, you will pitch your idea to the contractor management or the company management, because starting the project activity is the risk of client. Maybe client will support you, or taking the business from the client, the contractor has to comply with the requirement that was mentioned in the contractor's evaluation. The contractor has to get their staff trained from you. So when you will develop the criteria for the client, now client will ask from the contractor to send only the trained individuals. Now the contractor does not have the trained individual. Now you will pitch the idea to the contractor that I can train your individual. This is how business works. So no need to worry about this. Training and performance assurance. Generally not applicable for the new engineers, because this is an experienced activity. The training of process safety at a higher level and the performance assurance can only be done by the experienced team members. Of course, you can do the contractors training, but the evaluation and assurance can be done by the senior individuals. Next is third pillar, management of change. How the management of change can help the new engineers to earn. Review design documents and identify changes applicable to management of change. Fresh engineers can review the design documents. They can pitch their ideas to the industry that following modifications was actually carried out in the industry and how these documents were prepared or not. You will go to the industry and ask the industry that we are here to see the system of the plant which is being modified or has been modified, and if the documents are available or not. You guys will go there and help them. They used to modify the plant and start running the plant, and they used to run the plant. But when you will go there, you will help them to prepare the documents, because This is very important if we consider that the insurance liabilities, if any asset has been insured by any insurance company, the management of share document should be there. If that document is not there, the insurance cannot be claimed. You guys are the engineers. You have that knowledge. You can go there and educate those available industry guys and see how you can help them to develop their system and take benefit from that in the form of monetization. Participate in MOC workflow to gather data. If any change is happening and you get to that information, you can participate in that based on your personal relations. Assemble required process safety information. In that modification, you need to develop the process safety information and see how you can help to develop the industry to gather that data. Review applicable recognized best practices. So during that modification or management change, see the best practices has been adopted or not, and help them to develop those best practices. Operational readiness. What we discussed, participate in readiness reviews. During the project phase, pitch your idea that you can help to see if that operational readiness plan is prepared or not. You can participate in that. If not available, involve your experienced individuals, see if your experienced friends are doing that or not. If you get the information that this specific project is ongoing in Pakistan somewhere and this operation readiness plan is not available, involve your experienced colleagues and friends to pitch your idea and see how you can perform that. This is how it works. Conduct of operation are generally not applicable for new. Of course, fresh engineers cannot help to maintain the conduct of operations because they are not the experienced individuals. This is the job of experienced individuals. Emergency management. Participate in gathering information of ERP with the experienced engineers. Yes, you can participate in here. Emergency response plans are being prepared by the experienced team members, but experienced team members have a lot of less time available. So in this way, if you are connected with those experienced individuals, they can use you to gather the data available to develop the ERP, because emergency response plan is based on different scenarios can be possible in the industry. So this available information from the industry can be obtained by the fresh engineers to help the experienced individuals to develop the emergency response plans. In the fourth pillar, when the incident has happened, the fresh engineers can participate in investigations. Based on your relations and your network, you can participate in the investigations. If you will participate, you will learn how the investigation is being performed. And when you will be experienced individual, you can pitch your ideas to the industry that you can help in the root cause analysis of process safety incidents. A team of engineers can also help in do that, because if a chemical engineer is going to perform the incident happened on a mechanical vessel because of the integrity, he can of course perform the investigation, but the technical root cause analysis cannot be done by without the mechanical engineer. In this way, both the engineers can sit together and see how this can happen. Recognize and identify near misses. Near misses means the potential accident. The incident happened, but the loss was not there. Somebody was not injured, and the asset was actually maintained, but the activity was happened. So fresh engineers can recognize and identify near misses. Fresh engineers can move in the industry and communicate with the industry individuals, pitch their ideas that you can help the industry to recognize and identify near misses. Measurement and metrics. Go to the industry, record and maintain the data, analyze the data of events of experienced engineers. If you can help to maintain and record the data, you can do that. In the next stage, if the experienced engineers are analyzing the data, you can help to gather the data, because analysis statistically and develop the recommendation from the data is an experienced job, but you can help to gather the data. Auditing assemble requested information for audits. Audit means for example, the process safety incident of a petrochemical industry, you need to go there and see the job description, the technical job description of all the individuals are prepared and available or not. You can help to gather the data. You go there, interview all the available staff, see job description are available or not, missing to be available, made available, and if no job description is available, you can help them build them. And this data should be communicated to the experienced auditors. You can help them gather the data. Management review generally not applicable for new engineers. Of course, new engineers cannot perform the management review, cannot help the managers to perform the management review. So at this stage, we have done with the new engineers section. Now we will move to the experienced engineer section. Let's take a 5 minutes break and we will come back after that. Welcome back, gentlemen. We have completed the new engineers section, how they can perform in the process safety management area to develop themselves and to earn. Now we will move to the experience section. This is for those engineers who are working in the industry or they want to move from the industrial job to their own business, or they need to have the second stream of income, or the jobless engineers. Perform process safety culture gap analysis. How they can do that? Giving to you the example as mentioned in the fresh engineer section. A fresh engineer can perform the basic gap analysis, but an experienced individual based on their experience can help to develop the technical professional gap analysis based on the legislations, because the legislations or the legal requirements does not uh, carry an easy task which can be done by the fresh engineers. In the light of any legal requirement, a legal standard should be adopted. For example, giving you an example of LPG system. For the fresh engineer, they can perform the gap analysis based on the literature data, which is a volunteer thing. They can do that. But talking about the gap analysis according to the NFPA standard, then process safety management culture should be adopted according to the National Fire Protection Agency if the industry has a behavior in the individuals and the equipment has been protected according to that standard or not. The safety culture of the industry, the people, and to maintain the equipment is explained in the National Fire Protection Agency's standards. So only experienced individual can perform this. Talking about the minerals of the Pakistan, where the Mines Act is applicable or the labor law is applicable, the process safety management has dedicated guidelines, either the contractors are being involved or not. So only the experienced individuals can perform these tasks. Experience doesn't mean that you guys are experienced in your technical job. Of course, in addition to your technical job, you need to learn the process safety management skills as well to perform the gap analysis for existing PSM culture of the industry. Either it is available or not. The PSM culture of the industry should be developed from the scratch, or you can review the existing PSM culture. And we are available for all those experienced individuals to help them grow themselves in learning this gap analysis. Compliance with the standards, second element. Develop the catalog of different standard and perform specific gap analysis. As explained in the previous section, that voluntarily literature knowledge can be assessed by the fresh engineers, but when the legal statutory regulatory ordinance by the OGRA or the legal guidelines from the Mines Act or the labor laws or the uh, EPA's laws, these regulations cannot be addressed by the freshers. Experienced individuals have that better knowledge. They can pitch their idea when they have that standards available in their head. Going to the NFPA standards, they are freely available on their website. You can review them, you can read them. Of course, you cannot download them. You need to purchase if you want to download them. But all the pages, all the words are readable. You can read the requirement, then you can perform the gap analysis. Going to the ISO standards. ISO standards are not available on the free. Few of them, the older revisions, they are available, and you can get that if you have the good industrial network available, because most of the industry who have certified by those standards, they do have that PDFs and that is available with different industries. So be ready for that. Once you have that standards in your hand, develop yourself. We will help you develop according to those standards, and then you can perform the gap analysis of the industry. I have given you an example of LPG storage. I have done a job in the industry. I went there. Somebody approached me because of my network that they do have that LPG storage facility and distribution section. You need to perform the safety gap analysis. I went there, I analyzed the system, I recommended them the applicable standards with this system is OGRA, NFP, API, these and the PSM. So I recommended the standard and they said that okay, we are available. I earned in like 5 days uh, many hundred thousands from this small task. Of course, I have to read all the standards and then I need to visit the areas and then see the requirements are fulfilled or not. Then we had done 3 days exercise with their technical and HSE guys to fill the data available in their documents and with their teams. So this is how you can work easily. Going to the process safety competence. Develop self skills schedule of training and propose it all HSE firms. When you are engineers and experienced engineers, you have the plant operations, engineers training and troubleshooting skills in your hand. And you have the confidence that you can communicate, you can deliver your skills. So you what you have to do is that enlist your skills. Like you can operate the plant. What kind of the plant you can operate? You can operate the amine system, you can operate the cryogenic system, you can operate the distillation columns, you can operate the propane refrigeration system, you can operate the ammonia unit, you can operate the urea unit, but you can also mention the unit operations in that or unit processes in that, reactors, furnaces, columns, even the prillers can be added. Now see, those industries do not have the technical institutes and training plans available. They cannot train their individuals from the institute section. They cannot have dedicated plans. Yes, with the hands-on experience, with the self initiatives of the individuals, they can go and they can learn themselves. But a dedicated training session can be organized by the experienced individuals relevant to the process safety. Like if a person is starting the pump, go there, have a site visit, and see how the person starts the pump. Now you guys have the expertise of the process safety. You will have better idea that how this procedure can be improved to avoid the incidents, how the maintenance is being done, how the equipment is being handed over, and how you can teach them to safe equipment handover. This is how it works. So you need to have the confidence in you. You need to enlist your skills and find out the gaps in the community where you can actually communicate those skills. This is how the knowledge economy grows. The bigger industry, the developed countries have actually identified these gaps, gentlemen. All the Singapore, South Korea, the Samsung heavy industries are designing the plan for the whole Europe, Africa, and the major oil and gas industry because they have developed their skills, they have developed their technical skills, they can design the equipment, they can train the teams. The whole Europe is getting trained and getting learned from South Korea, from Singapore. Even the whole process safety team is being managed from UK or Europe. So this is how it works. You have to learn on a very small scale, start from your own area and grow yourself. Workforce involvement. Involve government authorities and agencies or self-meeting with industries to perform gap analysis of their technical staff competence towards process safety management. When you will get involved with the industry and the whole environment of the industry around you, you will be able to see the needs. You will perform the gap analysis in this way. You will have the better idea that how the workforce is being trained. the supervisors. In this way, you can involve the workforce specialized with the process safety management. Stakeholder outreach, organization objectives and needs, society, media, and NGOs expectations. What you will do, you need to go to the website, you need to communicate with the employees of that specific organization, see the needs of the organization, have that influence around the society. Once you will have that data, you will be in a better position to propose a business plan to that industry. I have given you the example that incident data review, you can help how the incidents can help, the incident statistics can help to improve their industry safety culture. Stop code reviews. Stop code means the behavior based safety system where you can help the industry to opt for the behavioral improvement of their team members. Similarly, the HSE system gaps. This is how the stakeholder engagement can perform. In the process knowledge management, the experienced engineers can perform survey of the industry team if it is if they are well equipped with available process knowledge or not. Written technical documents and specifications can be performed. Engineering drawings and calculations can be performed. Specification for design, fabrication, and installation of process equipment can be performed. Selection of safe operating limits of pressure, temperature, level, concentration can be communicated. Other written documents such as material civil data sheet that I mentioned in the fresh engineer section as well. So survey to be performed with respect to these content, technical documents available or not, engineering drawings are available or not. So these surveys will be conducted and the gaps shall be identified. You can take advantage of the fresh engineers involved in your circle to develop those documents and then you can present it after the definite review. Fresh engineers shall always be needing your support and you guys shall not do the clerical work, making the drawings. So you can involve them, but you can review them. You have the expertise to review the gaps, then you can present it to the clients. So all experienced engineers should perform survey at their relevant areas of expertise. Suppose chemical engineer shall check of the operator know-hows and read PND while mechanical engineer ensure mechanical drawings are readable or not. So this is how it works. A team of different disciplines can work together. Hazard identification and risk assessment. You guys can perform the hazard identification, you can perform the HAZOP, JSA, process hazard analysis, and lifting work activities, the maintenance work activities, work at height, and LPG handling, compile industry incidents, unsafe conditions data, or develop system for process safety informations, and civil surveys for old structure, fireproofing, coating, access roads, building, and diagram can be done with civil engineers. Operating procedures, the experienced engineers develop and review procedure for complex activities. Of course, the experienced engineer can perform that. A fresh engineer cannot develop the procedure to operate the urea plant or a mine plant or cryogenic system plants. So this is where the experienced guys can come. Local operating instructions. Apart from the procedures, specific instruction for the smaller scale jobs can be performed. Specialized technical guidelines can be developed by the experienced individual. Right, I mentioned that in the work on height and the lifting activities. Find the industry where these procedures are not available and pitch your idea so that you can help them develop these guidelines. Safe work practices that I mentioned earlier, that gap analysis of period system complex major work related activities. The per period table system cannot be built by the fresh engineer. So these experienced engineers have the better permit to work experience, so they can uh, enlist this expertise and pitch their ideas to those industries which do not have these plans. Similarly, the energy isolation procedures, which is very important for the handover of moving machineries and electrical energy systems, and the best practices. Going to the asset integrity, just like the same, the maintenance plans and the PM plans to be developed. Develop inspection, testing, preventive maintenance management systems. Like electronically, you need to develop the system. You need to help the system to organize in the Excel form in the SAP Maximo softwares how this maintenance plan can be implemented. Recommended action plans against inspection results. Of course, the experienced team members have the better knowledge of how the recommendations can work. Analyze safety, environmental, critical element data and gap analysis, and perform structural integrity. Contractors management, of course, the technical criteria of a complex contract can be made by the experienced individual, of course, which cannot be done by the fresh engineers. Evaluate contractor performance prior to the contract. The documents received by the contractor can be evaluated. You need to perform your services for the specific industry that we can hire the contractor according to your criteria. Help them hire the contractors. Provide pre-shipment inspection services. This is very interesting task. All the industries have moved from the factory assessment to the pre-shipment inspection. They need to develop the technical resource available in that area. If a Karachi-based company is getting any equipment from the Lahore, they have to send their employee from Karachi to Lahore for the site visit. Let's assume that that industry does not have the expert for that specific equipment. So they need to hire from the external resource and the person should be available in Lahore. You need to have this network. You need to go to the website and see the tender list. The tender list is available that the pre-shipment inspection of the specific Korean inhibition skid is available. Go to the OGDCL website, see this plan is currently available over there. Pitch your idea in the OGDCL website, giving you this proposal right now. Go to the OGDCL website, see the tender. Once you have the company, if you do not have the company, connect with any company that I am going to pitch this idea on your forum, because you need to have your own company when you are going to build your business plan with any corporate industry. This is how it works. An industry available in Islamabad need to procure that 10-20 skids for the Korean inhibition package from Lahore. So you need to provide your services to inspect. The data sheet is available. The vendor, the company who is selling that skid, they have all the documents. You just need to go. You are a technical experienced person. They will help you in inspecting that specific equipment. They will tell you that this is our pump and this is work in this way. This is this test. This is that test. In all these kinds of the tests, they will help you identify, and you will have to witness those tests and submit your report that all things have been witnessed and tested so that they can procure. Train and performance assurance. Training and performance assurance, list down your own skills and develop training material for each skills to train industry that I mentioned in the fresh engineer section. Experienced engineers have a different kind of skills. They need to have this better idea that what kind of trainings can be converted into money. Management of change, of course, design and develop MOC procedure. Then see the industry where the MOC plans are not available. Go there and develop that management of change procedure and management of change system for them. Raise management of change for proposed improvement and complete workflow. See if already modifications are done and documentation is not available, you have the experience and you can do that. If freshers can participate, but you can raise. Review existing system prone to MOC and review requirement of PSM. If you will have the visit, propose that you can review the plant where the MOC is applicable and see the process development guidelines are applicable or not and implemented or not. Of course, the best practices section has already been done for the management of change. Operational readiness. For the complex system, only experienced team members can do that because they have the experience, they can make the effective readiness assurance plans. Develop and provide resources for readiness. You can help them to develop the resources. Experienced guys performing their similar type of the jobs in the industry can help the project managers to develop their resource. How the logistics shall be managed, how the administrative tasks shall be managed, how the IT system shall be managed, and how the technical needs shall be addressed. Conduct of operation. This is the pure job of experienced engineers that perform all tasks reliability in accordance with policy and procedures. Experienced individuals shall review the conduct of operation is according to the PSM guidelines or not. They will perform that process safety startup reviews are available or not, hazards has been conducted or not, risks are being addressed or not. If not, the conduct of operation is at risk and you need to pitch your idea that these are the gaps and you need to help them revisit them. Yes, of course, you guys can have that in PDF. I will let you know, Mr. Taharao. Emergency response plans for your area, of course. You can learn the emergency response uh, of your area, and then you can help them develop the emergency responses. The fourth pillar of this area, incidents investigation. Perform the incident investigations. As an experienced individual, you can perform the incident investigation. You have the idea of technical plant maintenance and operations for the different industry. You know how to investigate any incident. You know how to ask what happened, why happened, how happened, which thing caused this thing to happen. So these questions can only be asked by the experienced user, and they have the better knowledge to penetrate into the workflows to find the root cause. Evaluate number of near misses, unsafe facts, unsafe conditions. For freshers, they can only go for the near misses. For the detailed analysis of unsafe acts and conditions, an experienced individual can help them find the data. Measurement and metrics. Interpret data, recommend corrective action required and action plans. The development of the data is the job of fresh engineers, but the interpretation from their data, recommendation of corrective actions and action plans can be proposed by the experienced individuals. See the industry where these systems are not available. Go there, help them develop their statistical data and recommend the action plan so that they can voluntarily choose which action plan is good for them. Perform process safety environment audit. Develop your checklist. Pitch your idea that you can perform the process safety audit. Either the company is certified or not by the process safety management system, but they can perform the process safety management system audits. You can help them grow that. Similarly, in the internal system control and not applicable for outsider. Management review is of course the internal system. See if management system can ask you to help them develop the statistics as well as the data and develop uh, the the documentation for the management review. Of course, you cannot perform the management review. This is the management of that specific company who can perform. But yes, you can help them develop that statistical data. Coming to the what we do for the Charm International Company is helping the engineers. Of course, we are empowering the engineers to develop their own business and all the elements that we have mentioned. These tasks that I have mentioned for the professional engineers or the students, we are helping them how we can empower them. We can discuss, we can uh, see how these elements can be work together. We can teach, we can practice all those elements with the fresh engineers and with the experienced engineers. We can involve the fresh engineers with ourselves. We are working on different projects. The fresh engineers can join us, the experienced engineers can join us as the observer, and they can have that experience and they can learn how we are moving forward. Provide knowledge of process safety management activities. Of course, we are helping all the required knowledge of process safety management. We will help them to grow how they can perform in the PSM activities. Links industries. Of course, we are in touch with the industries. When the engineers will connect with us, they will also be linked with those industries. They can have that site visits. They can, of course, perform uh, their own expertise according to their level, and they can communicate with the industries individually. Freelancing on Fiverr, Upwork, etc. Of course, we can help the fresh engineers or experienced engineers to make their accounts on different freelancing websites and how their skills can be converted into money. All the international community, is finding the freelancers from these websites, and if you just go through the process safety management, you will be able to see that the huge gap is available over there. Nobody is available there to build the procedure. If a company wants to build their technical procedure, nobody is available on these websites. All the Pakistani engineers are moving to the e-commerce. Virtual assistants are being available on the freelancing website, but the professional knowledge carriers are not moving to these freelancing websites. They should also move here. The software engineers, the technical engineers, the chemical engineer, electrical, they should move here. Industrial schooling. Of course, when the students will be connected with us, we used to educate them with the experience of industry by sending them for the site visits. So this has happened when the freshers can have the better idea of industrial schooling. University projects. Of course, we are connected with the university. Once we find the assignment, we gave that kind of the assignment to the university students, which they can use as their projects, final year projects. Of course, we have received the feedback for the ambassadors from different institutes and cities. All of you, if you can forward this information to your friends and colleagues, that ambassador should be from any university or college, or from any province, or from the district, regional cities of the area, specific industry and profession. So different ambassadors can connect with us so that the community can grow, and when the community will grow, of course everybody will take benefit from that. Entrepreneurial programs for the ambassadors. But we have developed the programs for the ambassadors. We will train the international reach to meet the industrial needs. Of course, we will international. How we will increase the international reach? We will make their accounts on the Fiverr and Upwork to reach the international reach. We will develop their skills so that they can provide services on their own. Skill development with respect to engineering disciplines. Different kinds of the disciplines can develop their skill according to process safety management. Career plans apart from ongoing job as another stream of income. For the experienced individuals, they can connect with us. We can guide them, we can train them how they can start another stream of income from the process safety management studies. Help in establishing the self business. Once we will develop the skills, we will help the individuals to establish their own companies. Single member companies, only one person can perform the job. This is what process safety management, the beauty of process safety management is that not a big deal. Help in process safety engineering on co-working platform. Once the business shall be established, then of course that would be an individual business or the team business. We will have the process safety freelancing on co-working platforms. We will help them to develop this kind of the business on the international co-working platform. Industrial visits. We will help the individuals to move to the industries and have the visits. Additional excellence to improve resume for higher pay job. Of course, these skills shall help the individuals to improve their resume to get the more jobs. We are helping the managers and leaders in the training of process safety management guidelines for the process safety management, hazards and operability studies, HAZOP studies, hazard ID studies and its techniques, hazard identification by preliminary hazard analysis method, different hazard identification techniques like what if and checklist method and safety review method, then the risk assessment method and conduct qualitative and quantitative uh, methods. The next is industrial safety, loss of containment and consequences. These kind of the trainings are available for manager and leader. These are the specialized techniques. Once we will teach them, they can start their own business with this help. This doesn't mean that they have to learn and they will just do nothing. And if they will have in the plant, if they are working in the industry, they have to just review the document. No, We have designed our training plans so that they can start their own business by learning these techniques. Students, supervisors, and technicians, of course, but we have discussed how this can be done. Introduction to hazards and operability study and familiarization. We will teach the introductory familiarization level HAZOP studies, risk assessment studies, JSs to the supervisor and students and technicians, safe equipment handovers for the maintenance activities for the different disciplines relevant to the technicians and the supervisors, hazardous properties of substances for the area owners, then the technical training on API manuals. All these API manuals are available. If nobody have these manuals, we can provide them, we can teach them, we can train them so that they can move further to different industries to train others. Managers and leaders, as I discussed earlier, that these kinds of trainings are available with us. Our portfolio, what we have been doing is that, of course, we have been performing activities in PepsiCo Industries, in E&I, of course, and in the Packages Limited. These are the major ongoing activities that we have been performing. In the end, I always believe that safety lectures are being addressed at a different levels, being motivated by the incidents. But of course, our faith is that, oh, you believe, take care of yourself. We always encourage everybody to have a faith that whoever believes in God shall take care of themselves, and taking care have the different techniques, taking care of different professional ways are available. So we need to adopt that process safety management in the industry is the need of the time. Everybody can ask the questions in the end of this slide. They can ask a question on the WhatsApp group or in the comment section of YouTube, or they can ask the question after the webinar through the email. We will be waiting for 5 minutes. If we come across any questions, then we can close this webinar. Okay, question is coming from random videos. I don't know who that person is. Okay, the question is that please also arrange training of ISO 45001 and 14001. Yes, we can not certify that. The certification should be done by the accreditation body. But yes, to start your own business, we can train you relevant to the ISO 45001 and 40001 so that you can perform the volunteer audit analysis for those companies which are not certified by ISO 45001 or 14001. Of course, most of the industries should have internal systems for them. If they are not certified, they can ask you to perform their audit. But if they are certified, then the certification company shall always have their own accreditation body for the audits. For the learning purpose, of course, we can train uh, for the ISO 45001 and 14001 as well. Another question from the same guy is also deliver training on contractor safety management. Thank you. Of course, we we have their process safety system guidelines where the contractor safety management system is available. Contractor safety management system uh, is the part of your contractor evaluation. Once you are going to bid the contract, when you are going to have the contract with a contractor, at that stage, on the initiation phase, when you have bidding stage, suppose you are going to install an absorber in your plant, or you are going to have a specific uh, services like chemical analysis services, or you are going to call the any contractor to pull out the bundle of any reboiler. In that stage, when you have to review the available contractors in the market, you pitch your idea through your procurement department, and three, four, five companies used to participate in the bidding process. They used to pitch, but before that, you need to develop the performance evaluation criteria, that what kind of the contractor should come. You need to write in the Excel form or the Word form that my contractor should have 20 years of the experience, and my contractor should have certification of ISO 14001 or 15001. My contractor should have a history of such tasks and should be available. My contractor should have training and certification plan available. My contractor should have certified team members available. My contractor should have XYZ. So this kind of the technical and HSE performance evaluation criteria can be made, and once they will bid the documents, they have to fulfill those requirements. If they will fulfill those requirements, you will have to review according to your criteria, and then if they will not fulfill your criteria, you can reject them. So this is how it works. Okay, so let me have a review on the WhatsApp group if they have any questions. Or is there any other platform to join this webinar? This is the question which should have been asked before that webinar. We could have arranged any other source. Of course, now the recording is available. You can review that webinar in on the YouTube through any source. If you still face any problem, please connect with us and we will help you organize. In the third quarter, you can connect with us, or this PDF slides will be available and you can review that. Mr. Mubarak, this is for you. Okay, relevant to the certificate question is came. Uh, we have that number with us, that how many members have actually joined. We will be sharing the certificate link with you. You can just write your name in the section and you will be able to download your certificate from that. You guys have the WhatsApp numbers of our business. You can communicate with us in on the WhatsApp number. If you require the specific section expertise, if we need to develop a skill, we will be sharing the program through our emails on the WhatsApp group and your email address. We will share how we can help you to get the knowledge of those technical skills. So how you can get that, we will share all the details with that. With that question, I think time is over for 3 hours this webinar. Thank you very much, everybody. All the recordings are available and you can get from that there. The PDF will be uploaded and link shall be shared. Thank you very much.